In 1991, a car with an engine smaller than a Honda Civic outran Mercedes, Jaguar, and Porsche to win the 24 Hours of Le Mans, and the winning engine had no pistons. This wasn't luck, nor was it a fluke. But how did an engine that shouldn't have survived 24 minutes, let alone 24 hours, pull off the impossible? Well, let's find out. When Mazda arrived at Circuit de la Sarthe in 1991, few people paid attention to them. The big names in racing ruled this event. Mercedes-Benz brought their powerful 5.0-liter turbo V8 engines. Jaguar came with huge 7.4-liter V12s, and Porsche, with their winning history, had proven their 962s with turbo flat-six engines. These teams had big budgets, top engineers, and years of racing success. And then there was Mazda. They showed up with a tiny 2.6-liter engine with no pistons, just spinning triangles that many experts laughed at and called spinning Doritos. The 787B stood out with its bright orange and green paint job, but what made it truly special was hidden inside. While other teams used normal piston engines, Mazda chose the Rotary. This was a small, high-revving engine that was completely different from what everyone else used. Everyone thought we were crazy, recalls Takayoshi Ohashi, the Mazda Speed team leader. A rotary engine in an endurance car? They said it would never last 24 hours. People had good reason to doubt. Rotary engines used lots of fuel and often had problems. Even Mazda street cars with rotary engines needed frequent repairs. Not what you want in a car that needs to run full speed for 24 straight hours. In qualifying, the Mazda team placed 12th. They were over 12 seconds behind the fastest Mercedes, but the team wasn't worried because they had a secret weapon. They had created several engineering breakthroughs that would turn their weakness into a surprising advantage. Now, before we talk about the race, you need to understand what made this engine so special. A normal engine has pistons that move up and down, but a rotary engine uses triangle-shaped rotors that spin inside an oval chamber. Each spin creates 3 power strokes. A normal engine only gets 1. This gives amazing power for its size and makes that unique screaming sound. But Mazda's engineers weren't happy with a basic rotary. After years of work, they created the R26B, a 4-rotor monster that was the best rotary engine ever made. Here's where they got clever though. The Mazda team added a third spark plug to each rotor chamber. This made sure all the fuel burned completely. They created special ceramic seals to fix the usual reliability problems, and their best invention was special intake tubes that changed length based on engine speed. This gave almost the same power at any RPM between 6,000 and 9,000. The result was an engine that could make up to 900 horsepower in qualifying. For the race, they turned it down to only 700 horsepower to make sure it lasted. The smart design didn't stop with the engine. The 787B's body was made out of carbon fiber and Kevlar. This made it much lighter than its rivals. It weighed just 830 kilograms compared to over 1,000 kilograms for the European giants. It was the first car to win Le Mans with carbon ceramic brakes. These could handle the extreme heat of 24 hours of racing without wearing out. But maybe most important of all, Mazda's engineers made their rotary engine 10 to 20% more fuel efficient than their competitors. This meant fewer pit stops in a 24-hour race, which was a huge advantage. The race began on June 22, 1991, and Mazda fielded 3 cars. The 55, driven by Johnny Herbert, Volker Wheeler, and Bertrand Gachot, plus the 18 and number 56 cars. From their 12th place starting position, Wheeler immediately moved the number 55 car up through the field in the opening hours. The 787B ran flawlessly through the night without a single mechanical issue. The rotary engine proved remarkably reliable and fuel efficient. By morning, the number 55 Mazda had worked its way into the top positions. Meanwhile, their competitors were struggling. The Jaguar team was forced to short shift and coast into corners to save fuel. However, despite these fuel-saving techniques, they couldn't match the Mazda's efficiency. With 3 hours remaining in the race, the number 55 Mazda was running in second place behind the leading Mercedes C11. Then, disaster struck for Mercedes. An alternator bracket on their car broke, causing the water pump to malfunction. The Mercedes began overheating severely and was forced to retire from the race. This mechanical failure handed the lead to the Mazda with just hours remaining. Now, it was Mazda's race to lose. Team leaders Takeyoshi Ohashi and 6-time Le Mans winner Jackie Inks, who was serving as a consultant manager, made a critical decision. They radioed Herbert. "Johnny, can you do one more stint?" Despite severe exhaustion and dehydration, Herbert agreed to stay in the car and finish the race rather than risk a final driver change. At 4 p.m. on Sunday, June 23rd, the checkered flag waved. The Mazda 787B crossed the finish line first, completing exactly 362 laps and covering 3,058 miles. The margin of victory was decisive as they finished 2 full laps ahead of the second-place Jaguar. Mazda's other entries also performed remarkably well, with the number 18 car finishing 6th and the number 56 car finishing 8th. The Mazda Speed pit crew erupted in celebration. The Japanese engineers, who had spent years developing their rotary technology, were overcome with emotion. Meanwhile, Herbert was so physically depleted that he collapsed after exiting the car. He had to be carried to the medical center, missing the podium ceremony entirely. The French television commentator captured the moment perfectly. No one would have bet a single yen on Mazda winning before the race. Mazda's win in 1991 wasn't just another race victory. It was a turning point in racing history. First, it was the first time a Japanese car maker had won the 24 Hours of Le Mans outright. For a country with a growing car industry, this was a huge statement. Another 27 years would have to go by before another Japanese company would match this achievement. Second, it remains the only victory for a car powered by a rotary engine. The Rotary's win proved that new ideas and unusual thinking could beat traditional engineering. After the race, Mazda shipped the winning engine back to Japan. They took it apart in front of journalists, and what they found was amazing. The engine was in such good condition that engineers believed it could have run another 24-hour race. It had lost only 2% of its peak power after 24 hours of hard racing. This victory came with a sad note. Rule changes for 1992 banned rotary engines from top-level racing at Le Mans. Mazda's greatest achievement was also the last hurrah for this technology in the world's greatest endurance race. The winning 787B, card number 002, was retired right after its victory. It now has a special place in Mazda's museum in Hiroshima. Sometimes they take it out for special events, and fans can still hear that amazing scream that sounds like nothing else on Earth. The story of the 787B reminds us that sometimes greatness doesn't come from following the crowd. It comes from having the courage to go your own way, even when facing huge odds. The legacy of this win lives on in Mazda's company values. Their slogan, "Defy Convention," isn't just a marketing phrase. It reflects the spirit that took them to victory at the world's most prestigious endurance race. What's your favorite underdog story in racing? And do you think we'll ever see another rotary-powered race car at the highest levels? Let us know in the comments section below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.